I think you're going to like what you see from this tool, and immediately see some possibilities of ways you can streamline the way that you work, and maybe find some ways that you can have your students reach out beyond the classrooms, or increase your capability for collaborating with peers across classrooms, across schools. It's really a great tool. I just wanted to let you guys know that we are recording this session today, so that if you want to go back and take another look, you can access these archives in our Office 365 101 course on Loud and Vision. They will all be archived there, with gives us a couple days turnaround to get everything up and available. And if you see something that you think is particularly great and you want to share with a colleague can go in there and access those, and they can watch those recorded webinars, and they can actually earn some credit for doing so. So hopefully if you find this session useful, you will tell some friends, and they can go find it in Office 365 101. And then we will be doing this session again here in April, in a couple of weeks. So if you like it and you want to talk it up to some colleagues, they can register in My Learning Plan now for our next iteration. And also just want to remind you guys that we do have Office 365 Monday sessions happening weekly between now and I think the end of April. So if you like this one and you want to learn more about some of the different capabilities of Office 365, please join us for one of those sessions. Our next cycle here is going to begin very shortly, and we're going to go back and revisit some of the topics we've covered already. So if you haven't been able to make one of our previous sessions, you can make a future one. So without any further ado, I'm going to turn things over here this afternoon to our hosts and presenters. We have Alex Gray, he's the Technology Resource Teacher at Cardinal Ridge Elementary School. Cynthia Miller, she's the Technology Resource Teacher at Tuscarora High School. Tricia Smith helped put this presentation together, but I don't believe she's actually able to join us this afternoon. And Josh Tom, he's the Technology Resource Teacher at Hutchinson Farm Elementary, and they've got some great tips for you today and ways that you can use this tool in your learning, so in your classroom. So I'm going to turn things over to them. And if you do have any questions, please utilize the chat box. If you haven't opened your chat yet, in the bottom left corner of your Skype window, you should see a little I am button. Looks like a little text bubble thing. If you click that, that'll open your chat window in the left-hand side of your screen, and you can enter in some questions there, and we'll be monitoring that as we go. So, if the question that you asked doesn't get answered directly by the presenter, then those of us that are monitoring the chat can make sure the question gets answered, or at least to the best of our ability, make sure it gets answered over in the chat room. All right, so thank you guys very much for joining us, and we'll turn it over to our presenters.
Okay, well, welcome everybody. I'm Alex Gray. If you can see me down here. We put this together hoping to give you a little insight into what Skype for Business can do for you, how you can connect inside your school and outside through this tool. So we'll show you how it works, we'll give you a little background, and most importantly, how you can use it for instruction. Cool. We've decided to actually use this tool to present today. It leaves us in kind of a neat spot. Instead of doing a video conference or webinar through another program like Adobe Connect, we're doing it right in Skype for Business. So the link that you used to get here was easily clicked on, and then either it opened up in Skype for Business, the application on your county computer, or you were prompted to download a quick plugin to run it. If anybody can't hear at this point, go ahead and type it over here in the chat box and we'll take care of you. All right, so what are we going to learn today? We're going to learn why you would want to use this tool, what it is, its uses in education, how to collaborate with staff over IM, audio and video calls, how to connect with others outside of LCPS, how to share the content in real time via Skype for Business, so how we're sharing this PowerPoint right now. And we're going to provide you with a lot of resources where you can learn more on how to connect, ways in which to connect We have some pretty cool links that you get a kick out of, and we'll get you up and running right away. And then we want to share some other ideas in which you hope to learn in the chat area. All right, so feel free to use that chat. If you're not seeing it, the other presenters are here chiming in. So we're good to go.
Keep on rocking it, Alex.
Good afternoon, everybody.
All right. Josh, this audio isn't going to play through here, is it?
No, have you advanced the slide already?
Yep.
Because we are presenters.
I think presenters have to, or participants have to do that on their own.
No, the participants are should be seeing that happen, but because you and I are presenters, we're able to move through the slides at our own kind of pace if we want to. So for everybody just out in the audience, again, is we are figuring out at the same time how all three of us are working together in this tool. You should see the slides advance as Alex is talking, but just to make sure, what we're going to do, Alex, is we can just ask people to be on the title of the slide that we're on. So theoretically, what people should have seen was the what will we learn what will we learn today. Did everybody see that? Can you type for us a response, just a yes or a no?
Woohoo.
So it could be Alex, because I was the person that was presenting, that I added this presentation, that I have the master control over it. I see that Abby said, I see it now. So what I want you to do real quick is just under, if you click on the, well, you know what? Let's do something real quick, and we'll show everybody that, since it's a nice learning experience. And I'm going to present my desktop real quick. So one of the great things that we can do with this program is very easily show other people what is on our computer. So Beth is saying no at the moment. So let's see that for a moment. Wow, it's a window within a window within a window. That's amazing. And so that's kind of neat. But if we come down here, we've got 4 different buttons inside of the Skype window, and the most these are kind of our most important. This is going to start and stop your video here. This is going to mute you, and this does all of your content, and then this gets you out of your call. The 3 ellipses are your options, and then we can open and close these 2 sliders. And I'd encourage you, as we're kind of talking a little bit, if you want to explore, please do so. But what I'm going to do, Alex, is show you that if you come to manage the presentable content, that probably what you're going to want to do is click the present now for that. Does that make sense?
Okay, show me one more time.
Okay, so if I come here to my present window,
Yep.
and I'm going to go to my manage presentable content.
Got it.
And then you should have something to take over as the presenter right here.
Yep.
Right? So I'm going to stop presenting my monitor, and then right now the stage is free, and Alex can now present that particular piece of content.
Woo. Okay, so right now I'm presenting. Everybody should see the Y Skype with a YouTube video icon there. You guys got it? Yes. Okay, Abby said yes. Angela said yes. See, that's really cool. So Josh was just showing you guys stuff, and then he transferred it over to me, and I'm allowed to present whatever's on my screen. All right, Cynthia's popped over a link to this YouTube video in the chat. I think it's only a couple of minutes long. why don't we take a break? Everyone go ahead and watch this YouTube video to get a little background on why we want to use Skype for Business in the classroom. All right, so break for 3 or 4 minutes, and we'll come back at you and discuss.
Okay.
All right, it looks like people are finishing up with the video. If you had any takeaways, anything that really kind of hit home with this, go ahead and just type it over into the chat box to share with everybody. Bring in experts, share learning with others, connect with other cultures, virtual field trips. Make learning real. Okay, I see a couple more people typing. So all this kind of goes along with our county initiatives of One to the World, sharing, collaborating, all of that good stuff. Mike says to gain perspectives of people in other locations. Perfect. All right. So let's start with a little introduction to Skype for Business. So Skype for Business has 2 terms that it gets associated with. One is Link, which was the name of the old application. Some of you might even see Link up at the top when you launch Skype for Business, the application. So just know that those 2 are kind of used in conjunction with each other. It's a great platform for messaging, just IMs, one-on-one conversation. presentation meetings where you have more than one person, screen sharing, so you're doing collaborative work, and it works fantastically with the Office 365 suite.
Okay, Alex.
Yeah.
Alex, I'm wondering of our audience members that are on, we get 10 different people kind of in at the moment. How many of you have used Skype for Business inside of the county to do a chat or something like that? Can you just do a yes inside of that chat area?
So I see the TRTs are all chiming in.
Yeah, we use it quite extensively.
We do. It's a lifeline. Yeah, daily. All right, some other ideas are popping up there, especially from the TRTs when it comes to troubleshooting, sharing desktops, helping each other through issues. Okay, we get Beth talking about Skyping with another class from another school, so reaching outside the building, things like that. All right. All right, Josh, do you want to give us a brief tutorial on the tool itself?
Sure, I can definitely do that, Alex. I'm going to, there's a button at the top that I'm going to use that just says take over as presenter. And because I wasn't in presenter mode, Alex, I couldn't see that before, but that should allow me to start to manipulate the slides and things like that. So let's see, oops, I might need to get through to that slide. To hear kind of video conferencing and things like that. At Hutchison Farm, we've been using Skype for Business very extensively, and it's been pretty cool. Let's see, and I'm sorry, I am. Can everybody see the slide that I am currently presenting? I'm getting a note that says that maybe not everyone can see the slide, that Skype is giving me a little feedback message, and I just want to check on that to make sure that we're good to go. Okay, good. Uses for education. Awesome. Thank you, Sarah. That's a good cue for me. Awesome. I'm going to keep on going then. But we've used it to great effect, really, when chatting between our classrooms. We've used it for, just today, we had 3 third-grade classrooms connect with each other and then connect with a teacher in Minnesota in her classroom to talk about some of their one-to-the-world ideas, which is trying to figure out better ways for our students to organize themselves and move around at dismissal time. And so in doing that, I've had to really show a lot of my teachers kind of the quick way to get a meeting started. And how do we do that? Because a lot of times we want to share the stuff that's going on in our classroom with parents. And just on Friday, I had a debate in a 5th grade classroom. That's a horrible arrow. I had a debate in a 5th grade classroom that we wanted to have some parents be able to see from the workplace. And so what we did is we created a Skype for Business meeting. And Abby, and that's a really good question. I'm going to get back to that. Abby says, how are people doing this video-wise? Webcams, only TRT laptops. Yeah, Refresh Schools, all the laptops have webcams, which has been a blessing for us, and hopefully will continue to trickle down to all of our different schools. But we had our parents coming into the classroom virtually through Skype. Now, what I'm going to do very quickly is I'm going to stop presenting this, and I'm going to present my desktop one more time. And so I'm going to present my primary desktop because I have a couple of different monitors. And what I want to show you is that down here, these three ellipses are my More options. And so from here, this is where I can check all sorts of different things. But when I create a meeting, that's here, and this is where I can get this link. And our practice has shown us that just about anybody that has the ability to have a plugin installed on their machine can join a Skype for Business meeting, and if they have a video camera and or a microphone, they're going to be able to contribute to the conversation. And so we send this link around. Now, I could also come up to this icon up here in the top right, which is invite more people. And if I wanted to invite someone from, and these are a lot of my frequent contacts on here, if I wanted to invite Derek Kaufman into our meeting, I can select Derek and I can click OK, and it's going to send him an invite through Skype. So I can add people into that, and adding an email seems to work well. So if you create a meeting and you can't remember how to get that to somebody, the little person with a plus is there. Now over here on the left-hand side, while I'm presenting, it shows me who can see some different things, right? And if I'm looking at our participants, and this might be a little small on your screen, but I'm going to point out Abby here. And it shows me that Abby is in the instant message conversation, that her microphone is muted, that her video is paused, and that she is currently able to watch the presentation. Now, Abby, if you wanted to contribute back to this conversation at the moment, all you would need to do is come down and unmute yourself. And if you don't mind, do that very quickly. Unmute yourself and just say hello. And what we're going to notice is Abby's picture is going to pop up as we listen to her.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Abby.
So if you have a question or something like that, sometimes it's good to say, I have a question, and then you can unmute yourself. Now, right now, let's say I can see up here in the top left that Abby is in the call and she's unmuted. Now, let's say she has a student come in and she gets distracted or there's an announcement. As a presenter, I can come in and I can say, mute this individual in order to stop that noise from happening. Now, Abby would never do that because we know Abby and she's amazing. But that is one of the neat things that can happen inside of this program, is that when you are presenting and you are in control, and let's say you have 3 third-grade classrooms all together and you need to help them control that, these are some of these methods with which to do that. Notice that as a presenter, I can also unmute people. So if someone is having a hard time and they're not knowing what button to push, I can help do that with them. So again, down here is some of the neat stuff that I need to be able to do, but this is kind of the most important, my meeting entry info. The other is some of these options. One of the things that we can set is, do people have to sit in the lobby before we say everybody comes in at one time? I haven't used that all that often. And then we can say who's a presenter when they originally come in and how can they interact with PowerPoint presentations. And one of the things that we're going to encourage you to do is sometime in the next couple of days is to experiment around with Skype for Business, start your own meeting, and see what you can make it do. And then I believe Cynthia has thrown together a nice little survey for you to take that survey and get that back to us and tell us what you were able to accomplish. Now, inside of Skype...
Hey, Josh, can I jump in here for a second?
Oh, please do, Cynthia.
So if you do that, folks, you set up your own video conference or chat with someone. It could be anybody in your building, someone outside your building, a subject matter expert, anyone to practice this with. And you fill out the survey, you'll get an extra continuing ed credit. Once we get the survey, we'll award that in My Learning Plan. So that's in addition to today's webinar. Thanks, Josh.
No, thank you, Cynthia. That's great. And now what I'm going to do really quick is I want to come back to the original Skype interface, right? If I start up the Skype for Business application, which, you know what, Cynthia and Alex and Mike, it might be good for us to put a slide in our presentation as we share it as to where we can find Skype for Business in the teacher start menu, because it's kind of buried. It's buried underneath of productivity, Office 2013, and then it's there underneath of Office 2013 in order to get it started. But in order to start a meeting, there's a couple of different ways, but the easiest that I find for my teachers is to click. There's the gear that's options, but right next to it is this hidden little show menu. I wish it was a bigger button. But if I do that, I can click Meet Now, and that will start me up in a brand new meeting. Now, if I do that, it's going to kick me out of this call and put me into a brand new one. So I'm not going to do that, but it's going to start me up and put me into this view, except with no participants and no content or anything like that. And that's pretty cool. So again, once I do that, though, I can find my link by going to the 3 ellipse and doing the meeting entry info. So that's kind of the workflow to get started, sending that link around. And I wonder what your experience was as you came into this meeting today, because we sent you the same exact link. Did you find it difficult or cumbersome, or was it pretty easy? Things like that. So one of the neat things that we can do, I'm going to do real quick. You know what? I'm going to go and I'm going to do a quick poll, and I'm going to say, how easy was it to get into the meeting? And that'll be my question. Very, kinda. These are really technical terms. Not so much. Hard. I am still not in. Which nobody can answer that. I'm going to create that poll, and now you should be able to see that and be able to answer that poll. Give it a go. So inside of the poll, it tells us how many people have answered, and I'm going to say kinda for me, and my poll actions. So that's cool. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. Let me show the results to everybody. So now you all should see them in real time as people are answering them. And I can close that poll down. I can do some neat things. So very quickly, I found, oh, hey, this is pretty good. Some people kind of easy. That's good. Everybody's in a learning curve, and we can kind of celebrate those things. I can save those poll results, but that's all right. I'm going to head back, and I'm going to, though, continue to present my desktop to you. So I'm going to go back, and now you can see what I'm seeing theoretically as it's loading up. And there is a bit of a delay for everybody. How did I do that again? There's some cool stuff to experiment around with, and I'm not going to go any deeper than this, but it's underneath of these things that we can do. Present a desktop, present a program. This is how you would add a PowerPoint file right here. You can add attachments. Let's see, will it be available on all computers? Is there a web-based version that teachers could use at home if they don't have it? Yes, Abby. If somebody has a modern web browser, they definitely can get in on the meeting if they can install the Skype for Business plugin. And we did have two parents, unfortunately, on Friday whose businesses were so locked down that they couldn't do that. So there's a good amount of things that we can do, but underneath of more, I can also have a whiteboard. So let's all play in this just real quick. You can come in, everybody can draw, paint a picture, give it a go. 30 seconds, have at it. All right, again, not trying to show everybody how to do all of these different things, but wanting to let you know that the tool can do some really cool things. But the bottom line is sometimes you just got to get your hands dirty and start to play around with it a little bit. All right, so I'm going to stop presenting our whiteboard here real quick, and I'm going to go back to our presentation.
Hey, Josh.
Yes.
We skipped a little short video. I'm going to go ahead and put the link in the chat
Please
area.
do. Yes, I'm sorry.
That's okay. And so there's the link. It's got some more ideas. It's about 1 minute and 40 seconds, so we'll give everybody roughly 2 minutes to go ahead and launch that link. And
that was down here at the bottom. I'm sorry. Was that the one, Cynthia?
it's Introduction to Skype for Business.
Okay.
Okay. So slide 4. Okay, so I'm going to mute, and we'll let everybody watch. It's about 1 minute and 40 seconds.
Awesome.
Okay, looks like people are finishing up here.
All right, sorry.
It's all right.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I think we're definitely going to get the PowerPoint out there, Abby, and we're going to get with Mike to do that and get, I believe, as a part of the vision course or something like that. I think Mike's still out there. He can confirm for us.
That's right, Josh.
So, one of the things that Alex and Cynthia and Trish and I were really hoping for you to have a takeaway is not just, oh, here's a tool, right? But here are some ideas that this tool can really help bring to life. And again, I started out kind of my long spiel by saying some of the things that we are doing at Hutchison Farm, which has been really good. I gotta tell you that it's been pretty neat for our students to very quickly connect with other classrooms. One of the largest events that we did together over Skype for Business was JJ Farrell, who's on our call. JJ, was that before Thanksgiving or Christmas break that you had the fourth grade classrooms get together and do a Kahoot together? But that was pretty awesome, and we connected everybody together over Skype for Business to be able to see the main Kahoot screen. And how many kids did we have all together, JJ? I mean, it was like 400 to 500 kids that were all had individual classrooms, like 20 some odd classrooms were connected, and it was really, really neat.
Yeah, that was an amazing experience. Like, I've never heard the fourth grade hallway so engaged and shouting questions, and it was really, really cool and worked fantastically. I mean, no hiccups at all. So that video there, let me hop in here for a second.
Yeah, go for it.
Shows you some really basic features of just chatting and being able to search people within our network. If you want to take maybe 2 or 3 minutes to go ahead and launch your link or your Skype for Business window, the one that I'll take over here real quick. And I'm going to present my desktop. It always asks you that, hey, people are going to see what you're looking at. Do you really want to show this? So it's a good little reminder. But now you should be able to see my desktop. I'm going to open up.
We're good. It's going now, Alex.
Okay. So I'm going to open up my window here. And really easily, right now, even in this presentation, I could be having a side conversation. Let's see if we can break this here. So I'm going to type in Josh. He's right there. And say hi, Josh. And so now we have a completely side chat going on while the presentation's going on. So why don't you take 3 minutes, go into your Skype for Business application here, your little window, and go ahead and find somebody to call. We'll give you a few minutes. Some other neat things are, you can see people's statuses, or you can change your status here. Like right now it says I'm red because I'm presenting. It has a drop-down arrow, and you can change that. So if you're really available and don't want to seem so available, you can always say that you're busy or do not disturb because you're trying to get some work done. So just some handy things. I'm going to stop talking for a minute and a half to see if you guys can have some conversations on the side.
If anybody can't find someone that's active, I'm available. You can hit me up in the search area.
Me too. right, if you connected with somebody, go ahead and let us know in the chat. If you had issues, let us know that too.
I have tons of issues.
Well, we can't fix all those for you, buddy. However, I'm sure there's some school counselors out there that can help you out.
Thanks, my friend.
Hey, anytime. Ooh, I'm switching slides on people. All right, it seems like everybody was able to go in and just chat with somebody on the side while we kept this conversation rolling, which is a pretty cool feature. All right, time check, coming down to about 15 minutes left. We definitely want to share some other resources with you. Cynthia, do you want to talk a little bit about Mystery Skype, if you're there?
Yes, sure. So there's lots of different ways you can join it, but you can either participate in, it's almost like a scavenger hunt, or you can create your own. You can do them between classes, but this is a way to connect with other people. And Josh, I think, have you done this before?
So I have not been able to convince any of my teachers to yet do it, but I'm on a lot of Microsoft calls, and I have a lot of my peers in that area that have done that, and they absolutely love it. But they say, I mean, you arrange things beforehand,
right,
but it's kind of unnerving the first couple of times that you do it.
Well, and our teachers, because of that, they decided that they would do it between classes. So they set up their own, and one class did it where they were a mystery animal. And so they gave clues to the other class, and the other class had to figure out what animal they were based on habitat, what they ate, those kind of things. That's a great way to start. Something simple, you're already covering it in your content, so you know that it's curricular based, but it's also kind of reduces that anxiety the first time around for all of your participants on both ends, students and teachers as well. So that's one good way to get started, is just try it out within your own school before you jump out and try it outside of the school walls. And then obviously the guest speaker, there's lots of resources we have on one of the slides you'll see in a minute, where you can find a subject matter expert. They have volunteers that you can get through this group, or you can just use Skype on your own. I know last year when we first started testing it, between the Skype for Business and the regular app, we actually Skyped with a park ranger that was using his telephone. He was out actually in the park while we asked him questions about the park and the projects that they have going on. That their particular focus was otter rescue. So there's lots of different ways to do that, especially with the National Park Service. I strongly encourage you to seek those out that align with whatever curriculum you're doing, because those are free, and they have experts in the park out in the field that can do that with their telephone wherever they are. And then obviously virtual field trips is one of my favorite things to do. I like to create those. I use a lot of National Park website services, but there's also a group that you can join here where there are different sites you can visit. And then there are a couple of others that are countywide. We'll look at those resources in a moment. Okay.
Cool. Yeah, Mystery Skype always has that dangerous type feel to it.
Right.
I know I've heard crazy stories about chat roulette when it first came out. So definitely
not chat roulette. That's not what this is.
Not going there.
Right. But definitely toes in the water here. The Mystery Skype, it allows you to put in your information, a little bit about yourself, your class, and things that you're, doing, things that you'd be interested in mystery Skyping about. So it's a pretty cool little feature.
Yeah.
All right. We have a few more. We're going to talk about author visits, and we have some links for you a little later on in the presentation. All right. I think I'm still presenting here. We should be on tips, tricks, and best practices.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so you have Skype for Business open. You've talked to whatever person you want to collaborate with, and you have this great thing planned. So what are some things that we need to do beforehand? Let's talk a little bit of norms and maybe some best practices. Do either you two want to start the conversation?
Sure. So I've always found that there's a little hesitancy among the teachers and the students the first time around. So you definitely want to do a test connection beforehand, even if it's just the two teachers talking, just to be sure that your connection works. Do a quick call after school, before school, whatever works for your time zone. That's important. That's tripped us up a few times, especially when you're looking at like contacting people in Europe or somewhere else where they're in a completely different time zone. That will typically trip you up, because you have to make sure that you're calling them at the it's the end of the day for them, but it's early in the day for you. The other thing we talked about is having a protocol in your classroom for discussion. So one of the biggest problems with, especially with a microphone and camera built into your laptop, it's going to pick up the sound in the entire classroom. So side conversations are not possible in this situation unless you stop everybody and say, discuss with your elbow partner something. You really want to make sure students understand how important it is for them to not speak out or talk amongst themselves, because it does distort the presentation for your participants on the other side. So you're going to establish those norms and protocols ahead of time. You may even want to practice it with someone at your own grade level, somebody even across the hall or in another school you can practice with. Doing a short presentation, something you're, again, covering in curriculum already. It gives the students something to talk about that they already know about, and gives them an opportunity to present and practice those presentation skills. But do something, quick before you reach out to a wider audience, just to develop those skills amongst your students. You're also going to want to have a script for your presentation. I have found the teachers that already have, even if it's just a bulleted list or an outline of what's going to be presented, it's much more effective, other than just kind of free-flowing, and it eliminates those lag times where you're going to have trouble with, okay, what are we going to talk about now? So if you've got a script established, it's better to say have more than you have time to talk about. Because then that way you already are going to fill up that time, and it's not going to be that kind of dead silence between the two groups. And then definitely provide a way to have some kind of a feedback from both groups. So do a reflection at the end, summarize what happens, hang up your call, and then do some kind of a reflection amongst the students just to get them to think about what they learned. Reflection's a really important piece to it. And if you all want to share anything else, anything that you've tried in the past that we haven't mentioned, go ahead and share that in the chat area. We're going to be collecting those, and hopefully you'll have some tips for us, things that we haven't talked about.
So one of the things that has worked out really well for us in elementary school is make sure that you guys come up with questions, especially if you're talking to an expert ahead of time, so you don't get those weird silences as you're talking about, or get crazy off the wall questions. Guide them into creating thoughtful questions about the material that's being covered.
I don't know, Alex.
And we've been on. Go ahead.
I quite enjoyed it when one of my first graders asked the park ranger in Glacier Bay, how do you know the difference between a boy bear and a girl bear? That was pretty entertaining.
It's a valid question.
Keep going, Alex.
Okay, I like that idea, Nicole, about pen pals. So they wrote to each other throughout the year, and then they Skype together. That's great.
Cool. All right, so I'm switching the slide here to join the community. All All right, Cynthia, do you want to go ahead
I
and?
do. So there are communities that you can join on Facebook, on Twitter. There's hashtags you can follow that are all focused on using Skype for Business in the education community. And if you want to jump to the next slide, Alex, it shows some of those. So there's the hashtag for Mystery Skype. You can see how other people have done it. There's a Pinterest page that shares some of the Mystery Skype topics. And then you can see on Twitter the handle Skype in the Classroom or Skype Classroom, and then Facebook says Skype in the Classroom. There's also an email address there where you can join a listserv for education@skype.net and educationskype.com. So those are all places where you can go and kind of gather ideas for what works for your classroom, and to meet other people that have already done this, or to make connections with other people that want to use Skype to Skype with your classroom.
Cool. Lots of ways to reach out to a larger community. And as one of the components of a One to the World lesson, this is an easy way to get out and have your teachers, or if you're a teacher, reach out and connect with other people. Going back to the first video that we saw, the people that have really good results pester their experts. They'll reach out, they'll email, and maybe the third email, they're like, okay, all right, stop emailing me. I will Skype with your classroom. That, and reach out to your community. If there's a way to gather a list of either parents in your classroom or parents in other classrooms who are doing jobs featuring the content that you're trying to teach your students, it's an excellent way to kind of bridge those gaps. All right, so we have a big resources page on here. Skype for Business mixes. There's some links there that will help you. Those are tutorials, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Video conference resources, easy nuts and bolts. The video conference resources are ways that you can connect. The first one is the Loudoun County video conference connections. And the second one is, it's a long link, but that's a way to connect with authors that do free video chats. So if you can look through that list, it's really long, actually. So if you're teachers, or you're presenting a book or doing a class read aloud, or really like an author, see if they're on that list. Connect out to them. The CILC.org is a great video conferencing resource. It has almost every topic. Now, a lot of those are paid, and some of them run through Polycom units, but the Polycom and Skype for Business, they're bridging those together a little better now, so it's an option. Of course, the NASA conferences in elementary school, we go crazy on those because they're free. The NASA DLN, and there's the URL for those.
So, Alex, under nuts and bolts,
Yep.
The first link, Skype for Business How To in 15 Minutes, is a great little video that has an actual person talking about some of the different tools and exactly how to use them. I know we've gone through it quickly today. We wanted to give you something that you could go through on your own in a guided practice way, so that's a good one. The next one is just the quick start guides, where they have it chunked, how to make a call, how to present, that kind of thing. And then the last one, setting up a Skype meeting through Outlook and sharing files, is an actual woman setting up a meeting with someone else and dropping files into the chat area where the person can open the file, and setting up a meeting through her calendar. It's the step-by-step. So don't feel like you've walked away without the actual how to do this, because that's exactly where it is under nuts and bolts. It'll show you the step-by-step. Click here. This is how you call someone. This is how you add a document. This is how you present, just the same way that Josh and Alex have been showing you. Okay, guys?
Okay, I'm grabbing the link to this PowerPoint really fast.
Okay.
So I'm going to put it out in the chat so everybody can have it right now.
Okay, that's great.
And so I think in the interest of time, we are going to have to wrap up our session here this afternoon. If anybody needs to answer or get a couple of quick questions in, please go ahead and pop those into the chat, and we'll see if we can take care of those. You have everybody's names. Now you know how to find them on IM, and they already told you they're avid users of Skype for Business as an instant messaging service. So you can hit them up on IM. You can send them an email, and reach out and get some support that way as well. So we want to thank you guys for joining us. You'll be receiving from me very shortly just a really quick survey that'll give you guys an opportunity to provide some feedback on today's session, so that we can continue to tweak and improve our Office 365 Monday offerings. So please take just a couple of seconds to complete that when you have a moment. That would be really helpful for us. Yes, this was recorded and it will be available in the Office 365 101 Vision course. There is no enrollment key for that course. Anybody can access it, students or staff. So they just have to get into Vision, search for Office 365 101, click on the course, and boom, they are in. So with that, our presenters need to get ready for a 4 o'clock session with some secondary teachers, so we're going to have to skedaddle out of here. But thank you guys so much for joining us, and I hope you found this session useful, and you found one or two things that you can use and take away to use in your instruction.
So, yeah, thanks, guys. Also, the room's going to stay open, so if you want to experiment around with it or talk to some people in it, turn your mic on or off in it, you are good to go to do that. So I'm going to take over real quick.